All right, we will call the meeting to order at 6:32. And welcome everyone to our meeting held via Zoom as a result of the executive order from the governor's office. And the first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the regular meeting held on January 12th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of our January 12th, 2021.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item is the audience of citizens. Do you have any thoughts or concerns from the citizens? Hearing none, I will speak briefly about the ethics commission that was created in November. Yesterday was the last day of voting for it to populate that commission. It was populated in the election last night. And 7 of the 8 folks that were on the ballot have been elected. That was regular members will be Joan DiFilippo, Carol Flame, Robert Herrick, Caroline Jansen, and Luther Moen. Alternate members will be John Green and Robert Ginder. I don't know if Bobby's here. I don't know anyone. I don't see anyone else here, but I'm going to put this forward just for the record if anyone watches this meeting later. It's very important for any of the members to call the town clerk's office as soon as they can so they can get sworn in. That's the first step to becoming a member of the commission. Getting sworn in. The group is going to have to schedule a meeting so they can get together. They're going to have to put together an agenda and some minutes. They've got to elect officers. They should, in fact, create some bylaws. They're going to have to come up with a budget of some sort and attend a Board of Finance meeting and a Board of Selectmen's meeting and try to make sure that we can get that budget approved by the Board of Finance. I'm not sure what kind of budget they're going to need. Probably going to have to retain an attorney. Those are the first steps that I can see coming. I don't really know how that's going to proceed.
Angus, with that being said, there about forming a budget. What if they need money this year? What do we do this year, seeing that our budget's already in place?
Yeah, they're going to have to go to the Board of Finance and ask for an appropriation.
Okay.
The other thought of that is to simply, do some of the preliminary work and see what kind of budget they're going to need. I would hope that they would do that anyway, prior to coming in and saying we need this much money. Let's get an idea of how much we need. And it's going to take some time to get all that formulated. So there's, we may end up in the next year's budget before they really need to spend any money. So we'll see. Hopefully it goes smoothly and well and progresses in a timely, orderly fashion.
So I'm kind of surprised that you said that about being sworn in, because I talked to the town clerk today and there was no discussion of that. So I'm surprised she didn't bring that up when I talked to her today.
I am too. You have to get sworn in. There's no question about that. So.
Well, I know, but that should have been communicated when I talked to her. So I'm just surprised that.
I don't know what your conversation entailed.
Today.
Yeah. I would think it would have been.
Okay.
But
well, I just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah. Huh.
Probably not telling that to anybody then.
Could have.
I don't know.
Could have been a
I
mind signature or
don't know who
something.
she's spoken with today.
Yep.
There's no question that's going to have to take place. I don't think you have to do it in person. I think that there are some executive orders that allow for that to happen over the telephone and with a signature dropped off by mail or in the Dropbox. But I would suggest give her a call tomorrow and see what she has to say. Ask her specifically
Okay,
about
I
that.
will. Thanks.
That's all I have about that right now. If anyone has any questions, we can try to answer them, or if not, we'll just move forward. Hearing none. The next item on the
Good.
agenda is appointments, Parks and Recreation. Jan Edgerton has volunteered to sit and to help out with the Parks and Recreation. You guys probably remember Jan from being on Planning and Zoning Commission for the 30 years or so before that, and I think
Yep.
she was on a couple of other commissions as well over time. I think I know she'll be a welcome commissioner. I think she's already attended one meeting just after she asked if she could get appointed. So if there's any objections, I'd just soon ask someone to nominate me.
I make a motion that we appoint to the Park and Recs Commission Janet L. Edgerton, term to expire 12/1/2023.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the demolition delay ordinance proposed by the Planning and Zoning. We spoke about this briefly at our last meeting. I asked John to come today to speak a little bit about the ordinance itself. If you have a second, give me a second. I can bring it up on the screen if you like. And also Jonathan is here. He was on the Planning and Zoning Commission, I think, when this was created, the Planning and Zoning regulation was created. So he might be able to give us some history to that too, if we ask for it. Let me share the screen. Bring up the demolition delay memo. Let's see if we can do this. This is a summary. John, I don't know where you would like to go with that, but why don't you take the floor and give us some explanation?
Yeah. Well, so the Planning and Zoning Commission has for a long time had a provision in their regulations, and I think we cite it there. It's section 8.1.3 about issuance of a zoning permit regarding if the building is set to be demolished and you're doing a subsequent reconstruction permit, that there is a demolition delay. And through discussion with the building official, Dick Layton, he was reluctant to try to enforce that or withhold his building permit for a new structure because the zoning regulation in and of itself did not carry the weight of ordinance, and the state statute requires that the demolition delay be an ordinance, not a regulation. So in order to give this existing regulation the authority that it needs, we basically need the town to adopt an ordinance. And it's pretty much that simple, but the regulation's been on the books for a while.
Could I ask, you mentioned that it's for demolition of a building and then to be a building to be replaced if another building's planned to be on that spot. Does this apply to just somebody wanting to demolish a building, period?
Well, it would, the ordinance would,
Okay.
but yes, but the regulation, the zoning regulation doesn't, because the zoning regulation doesn't regulate removal of you don't need a zoning permit to remove a structure. You need a zoning permit to construct structure.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that would have to be if it was in conjunction.
So it would, as a byproduct, anybody wanting to demolish the building would have to wait.
That would have to be noticed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering if there was suppose whoever was proposing to demolish a building didn't realize its historical value or something like that.
Right.
And the 180 days would allow people to say, hey, that's a historic building. It shouldn't be demolished, whether you're going to replace it or not. Am I interpreting this wrong or reading this wrong?
I think it's 90.
Or,
It's 90.
or whatever. Whatever.
Yeah, but
whatever the ability is. Yeah,
right. So and so what it would do, it would trigger. I mean, because anyone wishing to demolish a building would have to pull a demo permit from the building official, and at that time he would have previous to this, he didn't really not have unless the property was on the National Register of Historic Places or something like that. would not have the authority to stop the delay, and in fact would be required by state building code to process that application within 30 days. But if you have the ordinance in place and that structure is over a certain number of years old, then he would be able to point to the statute and says, no, you got to wait. And you know, here potential objections or, you know, documentation and that sort of thing.
Are these ordinances all common throughout the state, John?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're very, very widely spread across
Okay,
the state.
good.
Yeah.
They all pretty much have the same parameters?
Yeah. Because it's, I mean, it's basically based on the provisions of section 29-401 of the statute,
Okay.
that it basically empowers towns to put in place one of
Good.
these.
Yep. Well, like I said last time, we have in fact sent this over to the town attorney for review. I'm expecting to get that back shortly. We'll work on some language. There are, you know, I had a couple of questions about it, just with my own read, you know, and I think I mentioned them at that last meeting. There's no, it's not a defined waiting period, but kind of references state statute. Really takes the control of any kind of waiting period out of the town's hands and leaves it to the legislature. And we may want to be a little more definitive in our ordinance, you know, make it 30 days, 45 days, whatever that is, rather than refer to legislature or statute. We can just put it into our own ordinance. One of the questions that I have, John, that you might be able to answer is what really is supposed to happen during the waiting period. Who gets to know? Is it something that gets noticed that there's a waiting period? Is it a demolition application? We have to put a sign out. We have to advertise.
Yeah, you do have to, right? You have to put a sign out. And in fact, we're dealing with this right now in the town of Clinton, where I also provide some services. There's an old corn crib on East Main Street,
Yep.
right down from 145 near the police station, if you guys know it.
Mhm.
Actually, your own chairman of planning and zoning is the applicant's representative looking to do a redevelopment of that property. And so, yeah, that got noticed. And in this case, there's been a whole effort to see what they can do to save it, if not in place, to basically, you know, pick up the building and move it somewhere else in town so it is preserved. So it kind of allows people to organize a little bit. It doesn't, you know, you are not prohibited from demolishing after that 90 days, but it gives people a chance to either request some historic documentation. Maybe people can get inside and take pictures and things like that, or in the best case, you know, an opportunity to salvage the structure and you know, locate it somewhere else.
Okay, so the notice is just a sign in front of the property?
That's, I believe so.
Okay.
And I, you know, don't hold me to that, but I believe
No,
so.
I'm not
That's-
holding you to it. In fact, it's curious because I know that the Planning and Zoning Commission just revised their regulations where a sign for an application for a public hearing was not appropriate. They needed to advertise that or mailings or something like that. So I'm not sure about any of that, but a sign either way is fine. I just wasn't sure. So all right, so we put a sign out during that waiting period. Is there any, does the town have any responsibility to evaluate the property or the structure, or is the town responsible
I
for
don't
anything?
believe so, other than other than the standard building official fire marshal review about the, you know, if the structure needs to be condemned more quickly or something like that. That's
Okay.
that's, you know,
So
I think the standard review for a demolition permit.
Okay, great. You know, and we'll continue to communicate about how this is going to go. Once we get language back from the attorney, we'll give it back to you guys and we'll see how it goes. I expect we'll move it forward relatively soon. An ordinance requires a town meeting to be established, so we may kind of delay this. Not delay is not the right word, but postpone the vote for this until we have our annual town meeting or something else comes up, just because of the logistics of the COVID restrictions that might go on to a town meeting.
I think that makes sense. I don't think this isn't a huge giant issue. It's just they wanted to close the loop on it.
Right, right. I think it's a good idea. I think that it, there are parts of this that make a lot of sense. So, thank you for the explanation. Does anybody else have any questions or thoughts?
No,
Good.
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Now, one other thing is, I haven't read it in a couple of weeks since you first gave it to me. Is there an age restriction on the house? Like, is this any demolition or something older than 75 years old?
Yeah, it is 75.
75?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, section 2 right there on the screen says more than 75 years old.
Can't see it. I was looking at all of your faces instead of a screen. I have it in front of me, but I wasn't reading. I was trying to see you all. Okay. John, thank you very much. If there's no other questions for you, I don't.
Thank you, John.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good to see you guys. Thanks.
Good night,
Thanks.
John. See you tomorrow. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a formalization of an agreement between WPCA and the town of Deep River regarding snow removal. You guys are probably aware, for many years, longer than I've lived in town, the WPCA has taken on the role. I think it started as just I don't know why it started, but WPCA has pretty much been responsible for clearing the sidewalks on Main Street anyway. That started, I think, just in front of the town hall and kind of spread as the downtown developed a little bit.
Yeah, that was a wondering thing in my mind as to how that all
Yeah.
happened to begin with too.
Well, they're not, they're not very busy down at the plant during a big snowstorm. So I guess Smitty just asked them to come down one day, and that just grew and grew and grew. There is no formal agreement, or there's no contract between them, but we have done some research that the WPCA is going to purchase. If you remember, like last year, we looked at I think it was called a Ventrac, a new machine for clearing sidewalks. It's designed specifically for clearing smaller, tighter areas. We looked at it, but going through the process, it took a little too long to get it, and we lost it. By the time we got it approved by the Board of Finance, we lost it. WPCA has found one a few years old. It's in very good shape. I think it's up at Yukon. They're getting, whatever the reason, they're getting driven by a little old lady only on Sundays or something. But we've had it explored with our mechanic. It looks in good shape. The equipment that comes with it is good. So what we're going to do is kind of, we don't have a contract with them. We did some research with what other firms charge to clear sidewalks for municipalities, and goes anywhere from the low cost of $120, but the vast majority were closer up to between $178 to $220 an hour to clear these machines. WPCA, with the purchase of this machine, has asked that we give them anywhere from $50 to $70 an hour for the use of the machine. I expect it's going to be probably 3 or 4 hours to clear the Main Street sidewalk from Kirtland Commons down to the Congregational Church, down and then along Union Street, and then up Elm Street back to the town hall and down to the elementary school. We expect that to be 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. So it's going to be a lot less expensive than it would be if we hire it out. Those folks are already being paid, so we're really not going to be paying anything unless that work takes place after their regular hours, and then we'll just be paying the one of the employees. The other employee is already a salary, so he will not be being paid by us.
So the hourly money would be when they're
the hourly rate will be probably $60 to $70 an hour. I said 50 before, but that seems kind of low. And that'll be just for the use of the machine, to help with the maintenance of the machine, as well as we will be paying, if any of the clearing takes place outside of the hours of 8 and 4, will be paying for the hourly rate of one of the employees. The guy driving the machine will not be.
Not time and a half of the 70, correct?
Right.
It'll be time and a half of his salary?
No. His regular salary, regular hourly rate.
Okay,
And I think what that does is it continues, it still saves the town a considerable amount of money. It allows us to expand the clearing of the sidewalks well beyond what we're already doing. And it gives us an opportunity to see how much further we might be able to go with doing the rest of the sidewalks as well. But
What kind of equipment comes with the device?
it's got a brush and a snow blower. So in extreme storms, we can blow that snow right into a truck on the side of the road. And more than likely what we will do is probably use a blower or a plow to do down to about 2 or 3 inches to keep the plow off the sidewalk, and then use the brush to clear the sidewalk. I think that'll be much, especially on a brick sidewalk, that'll keep that in much better shape for years to come.
Yeah, with the experience that I had up at when I was at the airport at Chester, when we got a broom, the broom was the good final cleaning to get down to the asphalt, and that was critical for the people walking and the airplanes landing and sidewalks at the factory and all that. So the plow's one thing, but a brush is the next level. So I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. So
would we slide that cost there into the contingency fund or the maintenance? Where we?
oh, that'll go into highway, the same place
Highway?
where our plowing and stuff goes to now. It's in highway.
Okay.
Now, I'm assuming that, we don't have anything right now. So this is a good first step. And you've got an idea that it would take 3 to 4 hours to do downtown itself. There are other sidewalks that do spider out from those main ones. And I'm sure that it'd probably go without saying that we would explore as to how much time it would take to do some of the smaller ones and just, take baby steps, but make every effort we could to, clear as many as we could in town.
Exactly. No, that's my intent. Let's start with where we are
Let's
and
crawl before we walk and walk before we run.
but
Yep.
what this does, it gives us an opportunity to do that with in-house as opposed to hiring it out.
And that probably ultimately might help in the we were just talking about an ordinance, the whether or not someone's house is on a sidewalk and whether or not they are responsible for clearing a sidewalk or not. If this machine was out and doing the sidewalk, that would help not eliminate, but help, not have to worry about that. I mean, there might be somebody that's 85 years old and can't shovel their sidewalk, but this machine comes through and does it. And you don't have to worry about it that way.
Right. And that's one of those things that Deep River and a lot of towns with sidewalks that expand around town. Some towns have an ordinance that makes it the responsibility of the homeowner where the sidewalk is in front of. Deep River does not. I know we tried to 20 years ago or so, and that got shot down pretty vehemently. So this is a step to try to see how it's going to work for us to do our own sidewalks. For not much cost.
Absolutely.
Does it have a heated cab? Because if it has a heated cab, I volunteer.
It might be. I believe it is. I'm not entirely certain about that, but I believe it is. I know it's going to be a step above the tractor that he sits out there on now. So it is at least a cab.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
I think it's a great idea.
I'm not certain at this point. This is it's not a contract. It's really just an agreement between the two that has really never been formalized. It was kind of just something that was done. So I'm not sure if we need action or not.
So would you like to have us give you a motion to negotiate a contract with the WPCA? Not to exceed X.
a motion sounds good. I'm not sure to negotiate a contract, but just to formalize the agreement, the existing agreement would be good.
All right.
But yeah, not to exceed $70 an hour that'd be great, Dwayne. Thanks.
I'll make a motion for First Selectman McDonald to negotiate an agreement with the WPCA for the snow removal of our sidewalks, not to exceed $70 an hour.
I second that. I
Thanks.
do
All those in
have one
favor?
question in the discussion. Have they bought this machine yet, or are they just looking at
Not
it?
yet. No, they're waiting to see what the response is from us.
Oh, okay, all right. So we don't want them to lose it like we lost the one we had last year, you know, so,
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Yeah.
okay.
It's also something like this will probably guarantee that we don't get a whole heck of a lot of snow this year.
I'll do it for 45 an hour.
Do I hear 40?
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. There's nothing else on the agenda. We have a couple of minutes. If I know Scott has arrived at the meeting. If he's got any questions or concerns, we can go back to the audience of citizens for a minute or two, if you like. If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I don't.
Angus, do you want to give an update on what everyone's been doing for the vaccination?
Oh, yeah.
Reaching out to the community and letting any other 75-year-old residents know that we're here to help.
That's a great idea, Dwayne. What we're doing, a group of people have volunteered and folks from the town hall have been calling people 75 and over, residents in town, to try and assist to ensure that if they want to get a vaccination, that they are able to get themselves scheduled. It's been going pretty well. We've been doing this for about a week now, and we still have a long ways to go. So number one, if you are out there and you're watching this and you need some help, please call the town hall. We're happy to help. We can help set you up with an email. We can even help register you if you like. The second part of that is if you are out there watching this and you want to help volunteer calling people, please call the town hall and we can arrange to get you the explanation and a list of people to call. And the third thing, if you're out there and you're afraid to get scheduled because you're not sure how you're going to get to vaccination, wherever in the state you get scheduled, there is the Estuary Transit District has arranged that you can get a free taxi ride from your home to any of the vaccination places, Bridgeport, New Haven, Hartford, London, Old Saybrook, wherever the vaccinations are taking place, you can get a free ride there. Just you need to call. You can either go on our website and find the number. You can go on Estuary Transit District's website and find the number, or call the town hall and we'll give you the number. Joyce, if you have it handy, you can tell everyone, but I don't have it handy right now, and I don't know how to do the Zoom and go online and find it for you. But call the town hall. But yes, I can't tell you how appreciative I am of the Community Health Committee, Jim and Dwayne, Joyce, other members of the community have volunteered to make these calls. The folks that get the calls, I can tell you the folks that I've called have been so appreciative of the help and just the knowledge that the community is thinking of them. So
the only question, I agree with you 100%, and and the majority of the people that we called have already done it, and that's very, very good news.
Yep.
And most of them, at least on the group that we called, they were arranged through Hartford Healthcare, and so it's going very well. I'm just thinking that as the age goes down, we have more computer savvy people that are out there, and they've jumped on board and they're doing a great job, and they're getting it done. As far as testing goes, and I've been saying it all along, but Kim and I, when we were on the little task force meeting that we had to get everybody volunteered to go do the calls, we were in Saybrook, and when we pulled in before we had the call, there was nobody waiting in line to be tested down at the Saybrook Point. By the time we got off the call and got in, there were 7 cars ahead of us, but it was very, very fast. And that was on Sunday afternoon, and we got our test results yesterday.
Oh, good.
So they are speeding up test results very fast. And,
that's good.
and we actually got the notification from Quest first, and then I got the notification from the CHC this morning. So Quest let me know first, and then CHC let me know second. I'm negative, Kim's negative, but they were very, very fast in their test results. And I don't know if that's becoming the normal or what, but there was no line and the test results were very fast.
I went
I've
to
heard that
Ham
from
and Acid on
customers.
Friday, and it was the same
Yep.
thing. Fast test result turnaround, and it was very simple.
That's
Also,
great.
right in Ham and Acid.
That's good news. Yeah, and I think, the setup down in Saybrook is for the vaccinations is going in such a manner that it's, if we could get more product, we could do a lot more people. And that's the hard part. Scott puts
Just
in a
announced
request
the government's, the program, it's getting more doses. So hopefully it'll get nothing but better.
Yeah, no, it's right now, Scott puts in for 1,000 every week and he usually gets about 400. So it's moving. But anyway, please call the town hall if you need help, or call the town hall if you want to help folks get themselves.
yeah.
scheduled.
Angus?
Yep.
I don't have the number in front of me because I can't log me in
Right.
while we're on Zoom, but anyone can certainly call and I'll give them the number.
Yep.
The only thing I'm thinking about is for the estuary transit, did they say that they would go anywhere in the state? Because I thought I read somewhere where it's certain locations.
My understanding is wherever people get their appointments, they can get a ride to.
They'll go. Oh, okay.
It wasn't Nine Town Transit offering transportation also?
That is one and the same.
That
Estuary
is.
Transit is 9 town.
Oh, I thought the estuary had their own vans. Oh, okay.
No,
I
it's the
didn't
same-
realize that.
It's the same group.
Oh, all
Um,
right. Learned that. Okay.
Estuary Transit is the formal name and 9 town Transit is the nickname.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, anything else?
No, I'm good.
All
I'll
right,
make a motion to adjourn
all right, Jimmy.
at 7:04.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you guys very much.
Evening. This is the January 2021 monthly meeting of the Deep River Board of Finance. Angus, did you have to push any button or anything to make this official start?
I pushed record just as you were starting, bud, so you should
There
be all
you
set.
go. We're on our way. Okay.
Hey,
The
Bud,
first item.
Bud,
Yes, yes. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but somebody will have to take some official minutes here.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm
Lori's
already
still
up on
here.
the couch. I'm
Okay.
here. So I'm
Oh,
doing,
you're not gonna take off, Lori?
as long as we can do this quickly, I'll be fine.
Oh, that's a good,
I don't know.
Lord.
I'd like to hear that.
Let's do
All
this
right.
tonight.
We got the
Meeting-
Yukon game on at 8:30.
Meeting
That's right.
over. Good.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Very good. Excellent. All right, well done. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is, and Laurie, do you wish to bring up your minutes? Do you want me to bring up your minutes? I
It's
think I
just the
have them.
December minutes. We
Uh,
sent them out a long time ago.
I
Motion
thought I
to
had-
pass.
Thank you.
I thought I had your minutes available up to bring up.
Oh, you
But,
want to actually put them up on the screen?
I was going to use all the technology we had available to us, but if we don't need to, does anyone wish to raise any issues or concerns on the minutes? If they do not, we will move to accepting the minutes.
Yeah, I made a motion to do that.
Thank you very much. There's a first and a second.
Second.
Second, thank you. Any discussion there? Actually, in Laurie's minutes, there is a couple items that we will discuss on potential revenue sources that are coming up. So it will roll to this month's discussion. All right. With that in mind, we have Tommy. Do you wish to share how wealthy we are?
Sure. Before I start, I just want to let everyone know that the Rotary Club, the Deep River Rotary, is celebrating its 70th year. And we're partnering with Landing in Maine restaurant that on Thursday, you can actually order in advance, curbside pickup, or you can dine in, and the Rotary Club will get 15% of the proceeds. Especially during this pandemic time, it's very difficult for nonprofits to have any kind of fundraiser. So if anyone wants to help us out, you can certainly, they have specials, or you can actually order off the menu. So again, that's Thursday. If anyone's interested, you can go right on their website, www.landinginmaine.com, and do your ordering. So.
All right.
Thank you.
I think that's on our family schedule.
Oh, good. Thanks, bud. So did everyone receive the monthly deposit report? I had Kathy, she was supposed to send that out today.
I didn't get any of them.
You
Again,
didn't get it?
I think there's a no,
I
Tom.
didn't get the
No.
monthly report.
I did not see it.
No,
Really?
I don't see it.
Oh, she
Report
told me
for meeting.
Today, but
first thing this morning, she said she was going to be
Expenses,
sending
no.
it out.
I'm out of whack
No.
today. Sorry, I didn't get anything.
I did not get it, Tom.
No,
Oh,
it didn't come
gosh,
up.
really? Oh, great. Okay. Well, I'll just try to go over everything pretty quick. I did make 2 transfers. So we're, of course, we're getting the tax monies that are coming in at a pretty good clip. I've made 2 transfers since the our last report. One on January 14th for $900,000, and I made another $1 million transfer yesterday that went from our Citizens Bank general fund account into our Liberty Municipal Sweep money market account, which right now has just under $4 million in that account. And we still got 5 days to the end of the month. So usually, we have a pretty good, usually we actually can pick up as much as $2 million in those last few days. If I look at the where we were last month to this month, we're ahead by $1,173,000, almost 174,000. So our general fund balances right now are $5,048,000. Back last month they were $3,874,000. Couple other things. We had a dormant account that was the Town Hall Auditorium Restoration Fund account. We were notified because there hadn't been any activity on that account for 2 years, and the state could actually come in and take that money. However, we made a $1 deposit, so we've reactivated that account, so we're in good shape. Another item that I mentioned last month was a Deep River Veterans Green Monument account. I spoke to Dick Naggett. We closed that account. It was a money market account, and we had well under the $2,500 that is required. So we closed that account and opened up a free checking account, business checking account. So that has right now $670.05 in that account. The other item, the municipal energy upgrade checking account, has a 0 balance, and I closed that account out today. Let's see, our total balances right now, we have $6,275,856, and if we compare that to last year, we were at $6,704,634. So we're about $428,777 less than we were last year. But to tell you the truth, that doesn't really mean much because we have, the revenues are coming in day to day, so it should be in decent shape. Expenses are up a little bit this year by $353,265 from where we were last year. I think a lot of that has to do with the school increases. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have.
Tommy, take me back. The town hall
Yeah.
count. What was that originally designed to do? And I respect and appreciate your putting a dollar in. I hope
the
you didn't-
town hall.
Did you take that dollar out of your own pocket? Where did you
No,
get that dollar?
I shouldn't say this. It was taken out of a petty.
Okay. That is a fine. It's fine. What was the original purpose of that account and why is it lying dormant?
Well, it was for actually any kind of restorations upstairs in the auditorium. And nothing's been done as far as renovations for the last couple of years. I guess they had pretty much completed what they had planned to. So that's kind of been like a holding account right now.
How much is in there? Not much, right?
No, it's like $1,561.03.
So if there was restoration, there has been restoration up there from time to time, it is done out of town hall funds. So is there any logic to just moving it into the general fund?
Well, I spoke to Carol just a couple of weeks ago because I told her no, I'm sorry. That was yeah. Did I have does she have something to do with the auditorium?
Yes,
Yes.
she's the
So,
chairman of the auditorium.
I did speak to her just a couple of weeks ago. So I don't know what's planned for that. I can try to get back to her. Do you know, Angus, anything about?
Yes, they actually. I don't know why that money is still in there. Frankly, we've been trying to purchase some audio equipment. So actually, computer equipment to be able to enhance the ability to use your laptop down by the stage and still connect with the computer that's up in the control room. I'm not sure that we're going to need to do that now that we've got that steep grant and we're moving towards upgrading the whole operation up there. But that, I don't know why that money was not spent. We certainly authorized it a couple of times.
Kim was on that restoration committee, and I mean, there was a whole team of volunteers doing it over time. And it just wasn't getting done, and they formed the committee and they did the job and they got it done. And it just would, in my mind, it would make sense to, just lump in now auditorium maintenance into the whole maintenance of the building and set that part aside. That's just me, but.
Well, it is a good point, and we're probably going too far. Money comes in for the auditorium, which we bring into the general fund. Maybe we should put it in this fund. And do people make contributions to the restoration of the town hall still? Should this account be for that?
Not.
But evidently, nothing's been added to that account for 2 years.
An important thing to remember is the Auditorium Restoration Committee was formally disbanded when the auditorium was completed. At that time, we set up another committee known as the Auditorium Maintenance Committee. And that's just that they're managing that money right now. It's fine with me if you guys want to move that. It's whatever you want to do. It was just, it was something that, we used. I think we used a couple of $1,000 of that just to get the projector set up and to do the things that we're doing now that were not happening at the end of the restoration, because that wasn't part of the restoration. This was. Projector was put in to try to.
I'll let you guys decide. It just seems a tad extra too. And while I reward your $1, it does seem to be a unnecessary. Your $1 wisdom. Okay, we shall move on. Now, it is usually Laurie who reminds me that we skipped over audience of citizens, and absent seeing any citizens, I assume we can continue to do that.
That's why I just skipped
it. We are all proud citizens of the empire, as they say, which then brings us to recommendations of the selectmen. So if Angus, you wish to speak for the selectmen, this is your opportunity.
Sure. Let's start out with what I think is good news, actually. If you remember correctly, we, at the beginning of the year, we had took the time between the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance to establish the opportunity or the ability for us to borrow a tax anticipation note. I spoke with our tax collector on Monday, and Kate gave what I think is a very good report considering the state of the state. But right now we've collected We're 1.4% behind what we've not, and this is not dollars, but we are 1.4% behind what we've collected last year at the same time. So I think we're in pretty good shape. We had a good indication in July that we were not going to need to borrow that, and I think that we can say the same right now, that we are in good shape for where we need to be for and
Good.
kudos to the taxpayers in this town. I think it's really fantastic that we're where we are.
And I was standing beside Angus when the report was given, and I think I sent out a note. Russ had asked how we were doing, and my answer is the same as Angus is there. We have collected more revenues because we raised the mill rate. But when you compare that to the percent billed last year and the percent billed this year, Angus just said we're about 1 point, which we round up 1.4, 1.5. And that was Friday. Monies have been coming in, as Tommy has said. So I suggest to you that 1.4 is almost noise. As Angus said, I think we're consistent with last year. We were happy with last year, and well, I just think we are okay. And I think we take that tax anticipation borrowing concept. I think we sort of put it off. We don't need to pursue it. So
Good.
and I put that in the good news. Okay, Angus, go for it.
The next item is it's our hope to guarantee that we don't get any more big snowstorms this year, but we the Board of Selectmen have just agreed to an agreement with the kind of formalize an agreement with the WPCA that has been taking place for longer than I've lived in town, and I think for a considerable amount of time, where the WPCA has been cleaning the sidewalks of Deep River Main Street for many years. And from what I can tell anecdotally, it started off when Smitty just asked them to clear around the town hall, and expanded as Main Street developed, that expanded up and down Main Street. If you remember last year, we came to you hoping that the town would buy a piece of equipment that we could do a better job, a faster job, and do more sidewalk clearing on Main Street and around town. While we did get the approval to do that, it took too much time and we lost that particular piece of equipment. The WPCA took it upon themselves to find another piece, and weren't really shopping, but found one up at Yukon. It's a couple of years old. As I told the Board of Selectmen, it was just driven by a little old lady on Sundays. It looks in good shape and it's got a good price. They're based on the Board of Selectmen's meeting, they're probably going to purchase that this week. It's been inspected, all that, it looks good. They're going to purchase that this week and be able to expand the amount of sidewalk that we clear on Main Street. What that's going to do is we're going to help pay for that equipment. The WPCA will purchase the equipment, but we've done a lot of exploring. It generally costs between $120 and $220 an hour to have a professional come in and clear the sidewalk.
Wow.
We are going to pay no more than $70 an hour to WPCA for them to do that. We're not paying any salary other than if the hours that they're working go outside of 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we will be paying salary for one of their employees, but the other man who's operating the machine is a salaried employee, and he will not be doing, we won't be paying his salary at all for that. I think it's a very good opportunity for the town to expand on a service that we already are doing a not complete job on. What we're going to start off doing is clearing the sidewalks on Main Street from Kirtland Commons all the way down to the Congregational Church, down Church Street, down back up Union Street, and back up Elm Street to the Main Street intersection, and then hopefully the sidewalk on River Street down to the elementary school, so the kids walking to school and have a clear sidewalk there. That's going to be our starting point. As we said at the Board of Selectmen's meeting, it is we're gonna start with that and see how long it takes, how much it costs, and hopefully expand from that to more sidewalks around town. But we do not have an ordinance in Deep River that requires property owners to clear in front of their properties. We have an awful lot of sidewalks. We encourage walking in this town. We have a lot of walkers in this town. I think it's a great opportunity for us to do this, to continue the relationship, the working relationship between the WPCA and the board and the town, and save a lot of money as we do it.
Board of Finance, any thoughts on this? We okay?
How much-
Hourly rate staggers me.
What's that again?
The hourly rate staggers me.
What, that
Yeah.
$70 an hour
Yeah, that staggers me.
for I don't know, how
Well,
much
if
was the
we-
machine? I just got, go ahead.
If we hired it out, the lowest cost was $120 an hour. And I'm not a low bid kind of person. The average cost is $178 an hour, but
Holy
it goes up to $220 an hour. It is something that we need to do. We will not be able to keep the WPCA doing this with the equipment that they have. They simply won't continue to do it. So I think this is a good opportunity for us.
Laurie,
I'm
are
a little
you
confused
staggered?
on the
Are you
equipment.
staggered high or low?
That
How
it's so
hot?
high.
For a piece of equipment of, Angus, put in there, what, $17,000 that will be
Yeah.
paid for
Yeah.
over X amount of years? Every time there's a snowstorm, seems to me
No, I'm
almost
staggered with
low.
the hourly amount that they're charging the town to do this, or that we're going to be paying their salary to do this.
We're not
Well,
paying
if
their
we're not-
salary to do this. We're paying for the equipment to do
Machine.
this. The use of the equipment is, they're buying and maintaining the equipment. We're paying them for the time that they're using it.
Right.
In order to help them maintain that equipment.
So
Russell, I
essentially,
think-
we're paying them back for the machine every time they use it.
Yes.
You could
And if
say
we
that.
have no snowstorms this year and nothing gets plowed, how do they pay for the machine?
Out of their budget.
Out of their budget, if they increase their budget, they must seek approval from the selectmen. That is one of the reasons they went.
Yep.
And I am on the board of the water pollution control as well. There was anguish on the board that we have residents who pay for a sewer. We have generated a surplus, and we are buying a piece of equipment that really services a municipal function. So the board of the water pollution control thought that we should at least be reimbursed for that expenditure, is the other side of the discussion. And to your point, if it doesn't snow, we will not be reimbursed in that year. It's, yes, go ahead, Russell.
When you say we will not be reimbursed, meaning the WPCA will not be reimbursed.
Right.
Correct.
Correct.
You're wearing two hats, Bud. You're wearing.
Yes,
a
I am wearing
WPCA
two
hat
hats, exactly. And
and
I'm
a government hat.
yes.
Okay,
Angus wears more than two, but yes, I wear two.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there-
And so as I understand it, the WPCA is purchasing the equipment. It does not come out of the town's budget. It comes out of the WPCA's budget. And as they use it, we will be paying them to use it. And that is how they will pay that equipment off eventually.
Correct.
Ultimately.
Versus paying an outside contractor a minimum of $120 an hour to do the same thing.
Correct.
Has it always been the town's responsibility to shovel sidewalks in town?
Yes.
Wow.
Deep River has never adopted an ordinance. I think it was 20 some odd years ago that it was put in front of the town to make it responsible for the property owners to clear their own sidewalks, and that went down, from what I understand, anecdotally, that went down with in a burst of flames.
Is there a minimum number of inches before they're going out? So they're not going out when it's only an inch?
They have in the past, they have gone out with just to clear and to put salt down for storms like this one.
well, salt, I understand, but the storm at this point, last I looked, didn't need any cleaning.
Right.
Last I looked.
Lori, those are the things that are, those are judgment calls every storm,
I know,
what we do.
I know.
If we look at the big picture here, $70 an hour seems like a lot of money. But if you're talking 3-4 hours, a storm to go out and clean the sidewalks, you're talking $300-400.
Yeah.
And if we do, if we have a couple storms, we aren't talking thousands and thousands of dollars. We're talking a small figure, unless we have a severe winter like we've had in the past, where you get a snowstorm every other day or every, so it's not a big expenditure that I see.
Right. I don't think it will impact our budget in any substantial way.
But I
significant way.
also see ones like Nameless that will go out and plow and just make a mess and put snow back in because ramming into the side of the road, making more of a mess going out repeatedly. So I don't want to see repeated cleaning of a sidewalk that doesn't need cleaning, like the state crew that was out this morning, plows up, not putting anything down, but they're all out driving around. There were a lot of them out there driving around this morning. And
I've got more faith and confidence in our crews and our people that we're not going to be doing anything we don't need to do.
And that's not our call either, by the way.
no, I know, but I would hope that it's in the contract somewhere to, that the selectman says, okay, go out and do it versus don't go out and do it. That there's some better oversight than what the state apparently has at times.
Well, during our selectmen's meeting, I know Angus mentioned that this device, this tractor, has a broom on it. And in my opinion, as far as maintaining up at Wheeling and the Chester Airport and all that, the broom is a very fast and a very good way of getting that little bit of snow off that can become very, very slippery, very, very fast.
Right.
That's just another advantage to this thing. There will be, when it goes out, it will cost, obviously, but it will be, I believe it will ultimately be a safety factor, because it's not just a snowplow. It has a snow blower on it, and it also has a rotary broom on it, which will broom the snow.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Okay.
Now, you
Yeah,
should
you know,
take some
it will be a
comfort. This
great
is
tool.
not a new function. This function's been going on since Smitty had it.
Yep.
What we're doing is just providing better tools to do it.
Yeah, and we're kind of formalizing the agreement.
Yes.
This has been something that, maybe they'll go out, maybe they won't go out, and it depends who's around, what's going on.
Going to Russ's, I wear many hats. I'm okay with this thing because I think citizens are benefiting and will continue to benefit from it. But we get close to intermingling funds, which is not good. I don't think this is intermingling, but I remain a tad uncomfortable, but citizens will be better off. The town will be better off. So
There has been over the years an incestuous relationship between the two. Many years ago, there was quite a bit of money that was going back and forth, and that is not the case at all. There's no money really going back and forth. It's a service that they're providing that's outside of their general scope.
Correct.
Sometimes when you're dealing with public safety, the money really doesn't make a difference. We want to make sure that our citizens and residents are safe. We can go back, Lori, back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. My father, my brother, myself, we plowed Deep River, Essex, and John Winthrop Valley Regional Schools for 25 years. And if there's an inch of snow, you're out there cleaning the hills, because God forbid a school bus has an accident and someone gets hurt. So you made a comment about the state driving around this morning and their plows up and aren't doing nothing. It's always, we as citizens see that, but it's that quick second that the roads freeze up and turn ice, and then there's a car accident. So as speaking from experience of plowing these streets and schools, it's a fine line, because you get some people that are upset because it's costing them extra money, but it's all about the public safety for the communities.
So looking forward, when we put our budgets together, folks, there will be an incremental cost that we will have to incur somehow for the payment of this machine. So the future is with us. All right, Angus, I've crossed off WPCA as things to talk about. Up to you from here on. Keep on going.
I don't think I have anything else in an effort to help Lori get back to the couch. But yeah, you and I
That is
spoke
good.
about some
Well,
things, so.
I'm going to suggest to you that I want you to comment on the status of the fire department.
Oh, good job.
Not the
Yes,
fire,
yes.
not
Good
status,
job.
the
Oh, good
Winthrop
job.
Fire
Thank you. Yep.
Department.
Yep, I forgot about that. So in our existing budget, we have, I don't remember the number, I could look it up, it's around $4,500 in capital for work that the fire department was going to do on their Winthrop Firehouse. They started that work when they began, and that is re-siding the firehouse. When they started that work, they discovered that when they were putting new wooden slats on next to old wooden slats, that it actually looks really horrific.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, what they asked to do is to just re-side the whole building. It was an additional $3,500. What I'm suggesting is we have money in our budget already that in our town buildings that we can use for that money to finish that project. But I want to suggest to you that if we do that, I would like, and we end up $3,500 short later on, I would like to appropriate, and this is where I wanted to talk with you guys, but I appreciate the reminder. We could make an appropriation now for another $3,500 to go into the capital fund for this project. I believe that we have enough money in our town buildings line halfway through the year that we will be able to use that as opposed to making an appropriation. So we can leave the general fund alone for the time being, use our town buildings line to fund the remainder of that work. If we get to the end of the year and we find we're short, we have to make that appropriation. But I don't think we're going to be looking at it and knowing what the projects are that we need to do this year.
Board of Finance, any thoughts? I encouraged Angus to take it out of the building funds, but there is some logic to having the fire department know how much we're spending on them and the citizens. Anyone have any preference? It is easier to take it out of the building line. Thoughts on anyone?
Well, I think your point's well taken, Bud, that it's easier to have the citizens know and the fire department know exactly where monies are coming from and where they're being spent.
Yes.
But if that destroys the fluidity of having this whole transaction go on, then, you know, which one outweighs the other?
I like easy, take it out of the building line. Anyone else thoughts?
I'll make a motion to approve 3,500, the $3,500 expenditure to finish siding the Winthrop Fire Station building using funding from the town building line.
You don't need to. We got a building line. Angus has the authority to spend those dollars as it presents itself
On a
to him.
motion, we don't have to, but you know.
Yeah, I think that I think that the fire, at least the leadership of the fire department knows full well because they called and asked, what should they do? Can they do this?
Yeah,
That was going to be my question: is who decided to do it the way that they're doing it?
I think that
Because
they did. They were trying to save money. You know, they said, we'll just replace what's bad.
When I saw what they did, they had new wood next to old wood, and I'm going, what the hell are they doing? To be totally honest with you, it's like you should have just re-sided it with aluminum siding or something. It would have been done forever.
It looks like a zebra building. At this
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
Yes.
With the white wood and black wood, it looks exactly like a zebra.
Yeah.
And this is unfortunate, but it's just another thing that goes on at Deep River. We have lots of old buildings, and believe it or not, that Winthrop Firehouse has been around a long time. Ken Hebert's father was instrumental in putting that together, and he's been gone for years.
Yep.
40 years or more. I think you take care of that building like you take care of the library, like you take care of the town hall, like you take care of everything else.
Right.
And we need that building, and we need those engines out there, those whatever equipment they have out there. You know, and I totally agree. Just do it and take it out of the building line, and we sort of agree by consensus. We'll kind of back you up, and if it goes over a little bit, we'll deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, this conversation really is more to make you aware and the community aware that this is what's happening, not so much because of any logistics. We have the money in our town building funds. I just want this to be as transparent as we can, and we're spending the money on that firehouse to make sure that it's done properly, which is what we're supposed to do. I mean, that's a municipal building. It should look good.
Good call.
Be properly maintained.
Good, good. All right. Angus,
So it doesn't need a motion or any of that sort of thing.
No, that was just
No.
information.
just information.
Bud, what
and,
else did I forget?
You
want my
might find
hat?
this humorous. You forgot your drug test. From your days of old. You want to talk about your drug test? You paying for those?
Oh yeah, jumping Jehoshaphat's. Good job. Let me just regroup a
Jumping
second.
Jehoshaphat.
Okay, yes, we discovered that the Department of Transportation and the Motor Vehicles Department have increased the requirements for drug testing, reporting. And while we've always been, anyone that works on our highway department or at the WPCA has have random drug tests a couple of times a year. That now needs to be reported more than it is now. Right now, it just goes into their files and it's on record. We need to actually make formal reports as well as audits. The fee for that is $200 per person for the first year, and then it will drop down to $75 per person once the file is set up. So we've got 7 people, so we're looking at $1,400 that we're going to need to spend in order to do that. That's going to come out of, I'm suggesting anyway that we take that out of our
Contingency line.
contingent.
Public Works contingency.
Public Works contingency, correct. It was not budgeted for. We'll put it, I think we'll probably put it into that. We'll keep it in the highway line in the future, but for this year, I'm suggesting we take it out of contingency.
This
Alright.
doesn't pertain to the fire department, Angus?
No.
Oh, that's an excellent question.
That's a good question, but I have not heard from anyone from the fire department, and we don't arrange for the fire department's drug testing. I think that must be something in their own.
Okay.
in their own budget.
I'm just curious with the CDLs, that's all.
No, that's a good question, and it's something
Sure
that did
is.
not pop up because we've never maintained records of any of their drug testing. They must do that on their own.
Very good. Very good question. All right. Now, that on the highway funds, the contingency is currently overdrawn. If you remember, that's where we charged, I guess that's a good word, charged the cost for tree removal due to the last storm. Angus can probably should take over here. We have expectations, and this is what we talked about in Lori's minutes last night. We have expectations we will be reimbursed for those dollars, but we'll
Yes.
still overdraw that line further, which Angus and I will talk about in a few moments, but we will overdraw. We had a budget 9, we've gone over it, and we're about to overdraw it more. So it is important that the Board of Finance is aware of those draws.
That
Will be
that
sometime
line.
end of year-
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Lori.
End of year over a transfer to that line to cover it.
End of year, it will not be overdrawn. That FEMA had just in the last couple of weeks has determined and awarded Connecticut disaster relief for the tropical storm Isaias that came through here in the summer, or the late summer, early fall. That all of our basically that entire line, all of you see spent on that was spent for the tree removal and the work we had to do to clear the roads and get the roads cleaned up.
So
That
it
will
might
be-
be overspent, but it will be reimbursed.
It
by
will be
FEMA.
reimbursed, yes. And
It'll still look like it's overspent, but then there'll be this other.
that's right. And Bud will probably explain. We had a good long conversation with
Yes,
our auditor. the other
when we
day.
get to the budget, I will follow up on this very point. We'll just keep it going. Angus, you have anything more that you have in mind? If not, I'm going to ask you, well, I'm going to do a free fall here, free ball. When you throw the ball up in the air, everybody scrambles for it. Last night, they elected the Ethics Board,
Yep.
which will begin to work with anyone, but I assume Angus will take the first pass at working with that board to determine what exactly they think they should be doing. I expect that they will be looking for dollars to begin. Angus and I have chatted, but he can overrule me anytime. I believe the selectmen budget should be adequately funded to start that conversation. I do not know whether they want attorneys, they have planners, I do not know. I expect they will have a cost. Angus should be able to handle it in his budget, and I will continue the conversation and be prepared when we come together in, what, February, March, April, to put a budget together, that they will present something to us at the time. But I expect that they will ask us for dollars.
Yes, I do too. We talked about this briefly at the selectmen's meeting. I don't think I think it's probably low, and the list of what I see with a new commission, what they've got to do, let's say there are seven items or 7 tasks that they're going to need to do. I would suggest that the financial part of that is low on the end of that. You know, they've got to get sworn in, they've got to set up a meeting schedule, they've got to develop agendas, they've got to elect officers, they've got to create bylaws. Then they'll get into establishing a budget and determining whether or not they need an attorney. And you know, by the time they get through all of that, we'll be in our budget season, workshops for next year. So we'll have to meet with them.
You think I am premature in assuming they will have a budget for us when we during our workshops, or is that too early for them?
I don't know. I hope that they do, but that would be working pretty quickly.
Yeah, it would, as you laid out that agenda. So anyhow, there is something to look forward to. We'll see. Here is a curiosity that I've shared with a few of you. We have in the past, way past, seen legal fees scattered about our budget, and we collected them all and put them in the selectmen's budget, assuming that would be a form of control. We saw that at least the planning and zoning, we didn't do a good job of controlling last year. So I just think this group may need attorneys on their own. I do not know whether they just intend to put in a code, or maybe Angus does, or whether they think they need to enforce that code as well. So lots of uncertainty, but I do believe there's potential legal fees that they will wish to control. I don't think you need an answer, but something to think about.
I don't think we can answer it right now. We have to. I think we can anticipate that there will be legal fees and that they will want to retain an attorney. It's just, I don't know.
So,
and we'll try to, you know, like you said, but we will be working with them as much as we can to try and help work this out.
And it is interesting. These are again free flowing ideas, but the selectmen will work with them to put their thrust, their direction together, and they will seek dollars from us to execute it. I think the two boards need to be careful. We could be one of their areas that they look at, and we could be. I do not want us to be accused of restricting their activities, but the future will tell. Future will tell. So we will go from there. All right. With the word budget being used freely by me, Angus, would you care to share where you are on collecting budget data and what you want to do with it thereafter?
I am behind what my initial schedule was, but we're on schedule for what our normal process is. I expect that we'll be putting our budget together, and whatever our schedule is. I haven't looked at it this week, but we'll be on schedule for our workshops to begin.
I think our first scheduled, Laurie, is March 2nd.
beginning of March,
Beginning
Tuesday.
of March.
Yeah, that's-
Okay.
that's
Bear with
normal.
me for a
I,
second.
I would anticipate, Bud,
Yeah,
that
Tuesday, March 2nd.
Jim, Dwayne, and I will get together in the next week or so to put some things together, and then you and I will get together so we can be prepared for the workshops to start.
Good. All right.
Angus, one more piece of information. How is the fire department doing on their search for a truck? They
I
had
have
formed a
not-
committee to look for a,
I have not heard.
haven't heard?
I haven't heard, no.
My brief conversations, both Tom and Tim, is that they are working,
Yeah, I anticipate they are.
working hard. So yes. And Angus, the last one is, how are you doing on our small economic, what's how the small town
Small town
economic
economic
development?
assistance program grant.
Yes.
We're waiting
Yes.
to hear back from the state. We need to meet with
Okay.
our connection, or whatever you want to call them, our liaison with the state, and go through the process with them. I'm actually meeting with our grant writer, our zoning person tomorrow to talk about next steps.
Good. So nothing.
No,
Remember in December, we thought we had to have a special meeting.
I know,
Okay,
the
things
way
have
this was
slowed.
going, but we have not heard at all back from them. We've reached out twice a week for the last 3 weeks and have not heard back from our liaison. So I don't know what's happening.
Good. All right. All right. Anyone have any questions for Angus or the selectmen on things we're doing? Absent that, well, I didn't give you a chance to answer that question. We'll move on to budgets if there is no further questions. And as an introduction to that, and I want to go back to the overdrawing of the highway department. Angus and I have been talking to the auditors on a couple items. I have shared with them my discomfort that every month we look at line items in the budget that we have overdrawn and we do nothing about them. And my question is, are they uncomfortable with that? And their answer went, well, we developed an answer together and it goes as follows. If we believe that we do not have enough dollars authorized by the town in our budget to cover the overdrawings, which would suggest we think that we will underdraw someplace else. If we do not think we have enough money, then we should authorize money out of our surplus. If we believe that we have enough dollars, then we should continue to operate the way we are. The way we are is the way we have been doing it. And his thing was Laurie, who referenced a moment ago, that 2 or 3 months after we attempt to close the books, we adjust some lines and our final budget does not overdraw any line item. So I feel a little bit more comfortable with that as an answer rather than staring at a line item. But I do not think, here we are in the 7th month, I do not have any indication that we do not have adequate funds in the approved budget that we have to move monies over to the highway department or any place else we're looked at. Now, but that's just a feeling, that's a guess. I think we're fine unless anyone else has any thoughts, but that's where I suggest we've been. As we continue to go through the month by month, we may change that. Some of these COVID numbers may not be in our budget, but we'll talk some more. How about that, gang? So unless you have any,
Those COVID numbers won't be in our budget, but they will be. We will be seeing some reimbursement monies as we
that's
go forward.
correct. All right. Let me go grab, hopefully I can do it. I can do it.
Dan, I did not find it. I never got it.
The memo would suggest you did.
I don't know where she's sending it. It's not in my,
I do not doubt that either, but it is, I went back when you told me that a little while ago. I went back and looked, your name is on the list. Do not discourage. I think Angus and I have spent a lot of time on this, so I will not spend, unless you so say stop and talk, I will not spend a lot of time on it. I'm going to start with revenues. Can everyone see everything, I hope? Did I bring
Could
it
you
up?
make it a little bit bigger?
Can I make it bigger? Sure. It's
Large.
at It's at 100%. I would take it to 125. How about that? What do you
Better,
think?
great.
Better? Better. Okay. I will start with what we've already talked about. Taxes are coming in well. I won't dwell on those things. We did well last year, and I have every indication that last year's pattern is being displayed here. You do not see it here. We still have about 20% of our budget to collect. That causes me some stress, but we are well on the same pattern as we were last year. So I think we're fine. So unless anyone wishes to dwell on that, let's keep going down if I can here. Okay, let's stop. I will stop periodically. And I remind you, if you look at 41505, their motor vehicle supplements, we budgeted 110, which we always perceive to be a rather conservative number, and we get more than that. I just don't know if people are buying new cars. You can see that that numbers were falling short. So I don't know. There's something to keep your eyes on. Again, I will move quickly and tell short tales as I do. Look at this. It's a yellow highlight. Deep River Elementary Municipal Energy Upgrade. Our budget reflects $52,000. That's got to be a mistake. And Angus and I will work with the school, or Angus will look at his notes. Remember, we had the municipal upgrade. And we borrowed the dollars. Most of the benefits go to the school. We had them agree that they would pay the town their associated percent of whatever the borrowing is. When we look at expenses, you'll see the borrowing's like $13,000. My suggestion is this number is more likely $5,000. But we will do better next time, but we caught it this time. I will switch your eyes down a bit to the town road maintenance. I always encourage you to, before you fell asleep, to panic a bit. We have spent all of our town road aid. We have now received all of our town road aid. So life is pretty good on this one. Glance at the next yellow, election private grant. We talked about it last month. We have received $5,000 from the state to recognize our incremental election costs. When we get to expenses, we will see that we've overdrawn elections, which we have for quite some time. There is $5,000, which eventually Angus is going to have to tell somebody how we spent, but it is there. So, and just going down, note that we're receiving dollars we did not budget for from the state for elderly and for veterans tax relief. So that's if you like smiley faces, that is a smiley face. Okay. Look at this municipal CRF Corona Relief Fund. Is that a good name for it, Angus?
That's what it is.
We have gotten $31,248. Laurie referenced this in her minutes last month. This is also dollars that Angus will eventually have to say to the state we spent. So all good news.
They are.
Let's see, can I get further down here? Yes, I can go to a next page. Can I get to, I assume to a next page, can I? Here it is. I'm wrong one. Good. Let's see. There is Region. Remember when we did not give Region for their money back? Well, it is now in our budget, which we did not budget for. I want you to glance at this one, recycling fees. I have never focused on this. Look, we budgeted $15,000 of income, and to date, we have received $15,719. That is good. We are over budget. When we get to expenses, you'll see that we budget paying $10,000. So I never realized that. At one time, I thought that the Chinese people in China were buying our recycling. I didn't think they were, but these numbers will look like we are. So, but anyhow, just something to look at. Okay. Park and Rec, again, remember the Park and Rec used to have lots of programs that were self-supporting. That does not seem to be true. Therefore, you do not see their revenue. But when we get to their expenses, who knows what their expenses will be in the future. Police, look at police there. Note that we budgeted 40. We've received $33,000 to date from others who pay. When we get to expenses, you will see that we have paid $26,000. So our anticipation, this was a revenue generator, seems to be holding. And if you go further down there to registrar and town clerk, that is a grant from the state. We gave Amy the authorization to spend money. There's $5,320 of revenues from the state that, again, Angus and others will have to tell the state that, yes, we have spent. So just interesting stories. Let's do a quick summary. Recognize we had some interesting tales to tell along the way, but we budgeted $18 million of revenue and we've gotten 12, almost 13. So I think, I do not wish to jump to conclusions, but that seems pretty aggressive here in the 7th month of the term. Unless you have questions on revenues, I'll jump to expenses. All right, and I will take it up to 125 again. That's a lot of looking. Since this is the 7th month of the year, I'm going to suggest that and that's about 60%. If everything was spent equally every month, every week, we would have spent about 60%. We should have about 40% left. And I think you will see that we're doing pretty well if you use that as a criteria. I have highlighted account manager assistant. We have on staff now an account manager assistant that has joined us. So if you have questions, Angus can answer those questions, but that is good. As I mentioned a moment ago, elections, we have overdrawn. We've been receiving some compensation for that. Angus, do you want to answer? We will call upon these people a couple times more before this year is over, correct?
I anticipate we will have some more, as we were talking, Bud, though the contract, we will have we have revenue that we've gotten from the state to reimburse some of these expenditures. So,
and I think it was Russ that just pointed out, the way we are currently doing it, we incur the expenses here and we have negatives, and you then have to take your revenue page and go over and look at the revenues and net them out all by yourself. We had talked to the accountants whether we could start netting things here, but I think our answer is right now we're just going to leave the negatives and the positives roll.
that was pretty clear that that's what he suggested we do.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, here we are, town hall operations, again, adequate. Here is town clerk, and note that the assistant salary, as you was expected, due to the absentee voting, that number is low, right? Which, if here is a real here's a real forced answer. If the assistant clerk was at about the 40-some% that it should be without the absentee ballot, that number we would have about $8,000 or $9,000. So my quick estimate is we have about $2,000 to $3,000 of incremental expenses at the assistance level, but we have reimbursement, so we will. It is not particularly burdensome, it seems. But her total number seems to be well within my rule of thumb. Tax collector is doing fine. Anybody wants to ask any questions, speak. Special services, everything seems to be going fine with special services. Bank fees seem to be running a bit over. We may need to deal with that in the future. Building official, fine. Board is planning and zoning is fine, 67%. A tax collector, I'm getting a little odd on my thing here. Building inspector, inland wetlands. We have inland wetlands. They just hadn't submitted expenses. Do not panic on that. I want you to glance at, only because we have talked about it often, employee benefits. We moved money into that line item, if you remember, to cover the departure of Gina and Jonathan, and we have an agreement with Ray to pay them. Everybody has been paid off. That number is fine. Angus is, and I'm not sure who entered into the agreement, but Jonathan wishes to have his payment done over the remainder of the year. So that is why you still see some dollars there, but we are fine in that line All right, police protection, everything is fine. I show you, we flip over. Notice there is the special funding a moment ago I had you look at. We have collected about 33,000 and we've paid out 26. So as we have always been told, that is a revenue generator. I wonder, since the car is parked there and we fill it with gas and people are being paid pensions, but nevertheless, it is what we expect. Fire department is doing fine. The bottom line is a bit deceiving because of the incentive program. The supplemental insurance went out. They go out at early timing. Fire marshal, there's nothing interesting here other than note that for the first time I have ever seen, we are paying the deputy fire marshal. So I anticipate the fire marshal will be visiting us during the budget to correct the time. Civil preparedness, if you remember last meeting, we said we are collecting COVID costs and we are going to put them in civil preparedness. It seemed an adequate term. This is still work in progress. We are still, Angus and Kathy are still working on those. Angus, Kathy, and others are still working on those numbers. Here we are at the highway department. And if you notice, the contingency is overdrawn. We have just agreed to take an additional 700 out of it, but we will be reimbursed for those. And I feel I am confident that at the moment we have adequate funds in this budget to cover that over expenditure, which we will deal with in time. Oh, and look at here's my waste removal. Notice the recycling fees. I have never put these two together. Talk about going from line to line. We budget about $10,000 a year. We have spent 7, 8 so far. High likelihood that we will go over that line item this year, which I think when we put the budget together, Angus told us the possibility existed. Same as with the hazardous waste dollars. So I don't think there's anything we need to do at the moment, but we may need to focus on that in the future and keep on going. Here is our park and rec, always a bit of a mystery. Remember, we had all those young kids who did not have day camp responsibilities, and we put them out in front of town hall. Angus, Kathy, and recreation department will continue to work those dollars out, and some of them will move in different places. And I really think that is most of the excitement. I noticed that here you go, interest payment. That interest payment is our payment to the Southern Connecticut Gas. We have not paid them yet. I was in the town hall tax department the other day and they paid their taxes. So it seems to me soon we will pay them.
That'll go out then, yep.
And redemption of debt, it just catches my eye. That number is so low. There's a schedule and it is incorporated into our payments here. So I guess it is fine. So note that the elementary maintenance department, we still have quite a bit left in the, what do we, $15,000. I'll let Angus will spend that when it's appropriate to spend.
Yep. I was over there today. We're going to be, we're changing out our water fountains. Some of our water fountains are changing to water bottle fillers. I'm sure you've seen them around.
Yep.
It's just that we probably will get reimbursed for that, but it's you know, it's a health measure to not put your mouth down on water fountain.
So these are things we will talk about as the year goes on. Fire department, we just chatted about. We just made the decision to keep that number at 4,500 and to pay the difference out of our town hall buildings. I have. What should we talk about? Matter of fact, I have not asked Angus this question. If you remember, and this was a good idea, or maybe the fire department needed, help me out, everyone, breathing apparatus.
Correct.
We agreed to give them breathing apparatus. They applied for a grant for the breathing apparatus. And we said, let's recognize the existence of the grant here. They did not get the grant, but we continue to encourage them. We said, go out and buy it. They're still buying, Angus, is that?
They've bought about 50% of what they need. There's another 35,000 that they need to spend.
Okay, so we shall see that number grow, but we will not see the reimbursement for it. So, all right. I think that basically ends the entertainment part of our meeting here. If you noticed, we did this on revenues. We budgeted that we would receive 18+ million dollars. We have received 10 so far, so we've got about 8 million to go. About 3 or 4 million of that is coming in from taxes, seem to be coming well. And I should have stopped along the way in the revenue. We still, Tommy, remind, we have only received about 25% of our education funds.
Tommy's gone, but yeah.
Okay.
That is
We-
correct.
Yeah, so we still have substantial portion. I have no reason to think that we are not doing, I'll condition in case I'm wrong. I think we're doing okay in terms of both revenues and expenses, and this is going to work out.
I think we're doing okay. You know, I'm more confident. I still have some trepidation, but you know, the governor has assured the municipalities that we will get all of the money that we were promised. They have done a good job thus far. We've gotten our town aid road money well in advance of when we have in the past couple of years. So I don't have any reason to think we're not going to get the education money, and that is our big number that we still have to get. But other than that, I think we're in good shape.
Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any observations they would like to make? Absent encouraging words, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I got a first. Do I have a second?
Second,
Second, thank you. Any discussions of that? All in favor of adjourning until next February? February regular meeting in February, right, Laurie?
Regular meeting in February, and then the following week is when we start workshops. All things hopefully going well this weekend. I'll be sending out the invites to everybody. I just need to know who's going to chair ethics so that I can get them an invite. We'll start the same as last year. We started the workshops at 7. I wouldn't schedule them until 7:15. Give us the first 15 minutes to start. I was figuring to tell them to plan on a 15-minute presentation, but giving them a half an hour or 25 minutes before the next group comes in, just to allow discussion.
Oh, good.
We'll see where it goes from there. We already have the school scheduled, the elementary school. It's on my sheet. I don't know what it is right now, but we already have the school scheduled. So.
Sounds good. All right. Since we have first and second to adjourn, I guess we will say happy trails, as they used to do in my youth, back when I was a cowboy.
Take a vote.
Okay. All in favor of adjourning. I should leave you hanging here. Happy trails. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.